guys, I'm Melissa and welcome back to my YouTube channel. All right, I have got an epic Q&A prepared for you guys today, all on the topic of weight loss following a low calorie density starch solution diet. Now, these questions are all from Instagram. I've been collecting the questions that you guys have been sending me for the past few months, essentially. And I've selected a few of them that I've heard a variation of on repeat. And I'm going to share them here on YouTube because for those of you who aren't following me on Instagram, you may have a similar question. And I think that these could be helpful for you on your weight loss journey. All right, before we get into the questions, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, YvetteSports. They sent me some beautiful activewear, and I really appreciate you supporting my channel so much. They've also given me a 15% discount code for my subscribers, so I'll put that and the links to all the products that they sent me in the description box of this video. These are some really gorgeous high-waisted pants that I have been wearing a lot lately, and I really want to get these in black as well. They are a really thin material that it almost feels like it's just your skin, which I love. And I like the high-waisted effect. I'm only 5'2", and these actually make my legs look long, which is a little bit tricky to do because I'm not very tall and I actually have quite short legs. So these are a full-length legging, and they are still perfect for someone who is petite because they don't go past my ankle, which I love. And so I will link this in the description box if you need some new active wear. And I'm also actually wearing one of the sports bras that they sent me. And I actually did not own a single sports bra until now. So they've sent me quite a few of them. And I've been wearing this one a lot. I haven't worn this one, I've only tried it on. And it's just a super cute gray, very supportive, high quality fabric sports bra. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that the only exercise I have done for the past year or so has been power walks. But I am looking to do some more at-home workouts. Just some 15-minute at-home workouts, probably following along other people's YouTube videos. And so these will definitely come in handy. I love this black one. It's probably my favorite item that I've been sent. I know that I will get a lot of wear out of it. I like to stick with neutral colors a lot because I can just mix and match them quite easily. And these are the high-rise bike shorts that I have been wearing with that top. And just a really nice lightweight fabric. And the last item that they sent me was a 3-pack of these silky workout tops, and they're a really nice sweat resistant fabric. The third one is gray, and I've worn it a couple of times. It's actually in the wash right now. So thank you again so much, YvetteSports, for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. And if you are looking for some new active wear, I will put the links to all of the items that they sent me in the description box of this video. All right, on with the Q&A. I'm gonna dive right into it, and I'm going to put all of the answers in point form to these questions in the description box as well. So don't worry if you're not taking notes and something sticks out to you and you wanna remember it. You can just copy and paste all of that info from the description box. All right, so the first question is, hi, how did you transition to this lifestyle? I stopped eating meat last month and dairy this month. I'm afraid that going all in is setting myself up for failure. All right, that's an awesome question, and well done on giving up meat and dairy. That is awesome. And I just want to say that as far as setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion, there's only 2 things that you could do that would really do that. One is undereating. If you are hungry all the time, that is a surefire way to be even more tempted to indulge in packaged and processed foods. That is why I always say to make sure that you are comfortably full and satisfied after your meals. And a great way to do this is by including a fair amount of wet starches. Potatoes, rice, beans, oatmeal, these filling foods like barley, millet, They are full of fiber and water, and that bulk really helps to keep you full. So if you happen to be in an environment where there are some potato chips and deep fried foods and donuts, the best way to set yourself up for success with that is to be full. Because, you know, when you're hungry, the amount of willpower that you need to exert to not dive into those foods is so much higher than when you are completely stuffed and you're like, no, I'm good. I'm full off of my food right now. So that is the first thing. So if you're used to calorie counting and weighing and measuring your food and portion controlling, you may be under eating on these foods. And one way to know that is if you find yourself constantly craving things even after you've already eaten your meal, that's kind of one sign that you're maybe not eating enough. And so the other way that you could potentially be setting yourself up for failure is to be in an environment that is constantly tempting you. So you don't want to have to use all that much willpower. You don't want to be sitting in a donut shop for 5 hours every day, for example, you know, eating your vegetables and potatoes, because eventually the smell of those donuts or someone offering you donuts in a moment of weakness could result in you eating something that you're not wanting to eat. And so you don't want your house to be that donut shop. You want your home to be an environment where you have an abundance of fruit and readily available easy snacks and meals that you can prepare yourself that are going to fill you up and satisfy you. So that is key. Master your environment. Chef AJ and Dr. Doug Lyle, two people who inspire me incredibly, have said something along the lines of, work harder on your environment than you do on yourself. And I could not agree more. So master your environment. That means, are you going out to people's homes and parties that have a ton of junk food, and you know, are you going to pizza parties hungry without having pre-eaten something healthy and filling beforehand? Or are you going to work without having prepared a healthy lunch for yourself, and you know that on Fridays everyone brings in donuts and coffee? So, you know, just being really, really aware and taking some time to think about all of the environments that your day-to-day life brings you into, and how can you navigate them so that you can be most successful with this way of eating. So that's my best advice for that. And also, be easy on yourself. Take this one day at a time. You know, you've just given up dairy, you've just given up meat. Those are fantastic steps in the right direction, but don't assume that you need to do this all or nothing. And, you know, if you mess up once, then you've ruined it and you're horrible. Don't think that. You know, just be proud of yourself along the way. When and how often do you drink apple cider vinegar, and what is the benefit? There are so many health benefits for drinking apple cider vinegar and including it in your meals. I will list some of them on the screen right now, and I'll put it in the description box as well. I personally like to make a fake alcoholic drink out of apple cider vinegar, because I don't drink alcohol. I stopped drinking alcohol over 2 years ago, and I realized that I didn't miss the alcohol, but I missed the, I guess, elegant experience of having a wine glass and, you know, being able to have that as a social kind of experience. And so what I did was I experimented with different drinks that I could make that were non-alcoholic and that were healthy. So if you like that tangy taste of kombucha, something that I do with apple cider vinegar is I add a splash of it in with some lemon or lime juice, a bit of stevia to sweeten it, and I steep a bag of any herbal tea. Canadians say herbal tea and Americans say herbal tea. That's something that people always comment on when I say it, but I say herbal tea. So any herbal tea like raspberry tea or peach tea, and steep that, and then once it cools, mix it in with the rest of the ingredients. And while it's not really comparable to drinking something alcoholic, because it has that tanginess in there, it is something that is kind of like a mocktail. So that's something that I use apple cider vinegar in, and then I also use it in salads sometimes. Like, I'm not a big creamy salad dressing fan, so I will use apple cider vinegar or balsamic vinegar and some lemon or lime juice, and then all of my spices like garlic powder, onion powder, and all of that. Okay, next question is how to actually stop counting calories. I love you. Thank you. I love you too. And yes, stopping counting calories. This is something a lot of people ask me about. I know that it seems like you're losing control if you stop counting calories. Like if you're used to using this as a method to keep yourself on track, it can feel a little bit daunting to all of a sudden stop counting calories and just actually put your trust in the fact that eating low calorie density foods ad libitum until you're comfortably full will work to help you lose excess body fat. But it does. And I'm not a medical doctor. All I am is someone who has researched this a lot and is very passionate and interested in this topic, and someone who has done it. So, you know, since October 2019, I've eaten exclusively low calorie density meals that are comprised of ingredients that are under 700 calories per pound. And I eat large portions, what I would consider and many people would consider to be large portions of food. And that's why I document them in my What I Eat in a Day Weight Loss Wednesday videos and on Instagram. I like to show people the sizes of food that I'm eating and let people know that, hey, when you are eating foods that are so dilute of calories because of the water and fiber, you can really eat until you're full, and gradually your body will burn off that excess fat. Now, it is a slow and steady process, but I'll get into that with some of the other questions. And so to answer the question of how to stop counting calories, I think having a deep understanding of how calorie density works may help to alleviate some of that stress associated with letting go of the counting calories and the weighing and measuring and writing down everything you eat in it. So I really recommend watching a specific video from Dr. Anthony Lim, and I will put that in the description box of this video. He is great at really showing examples and saying, hey, this many cookies, which take up this much space, equals eating an entire melon, for example, when it comes to the differences of calories versus actual size of food. And so for me, I found that super helpful, and it really got me to get it. So I recommend watching that video. I'll put it in the description box down below. All right, so the next question is, what are my favorite starch solution friendly condiments? So for me, I really like adding liquid smoke to things. This is kind of newer for me. In the past 6 months, I've been really into it. It has a hickory flavor and there are no calories in it. And I add it to my dips. I add it to soups. And certain rice dishes, and it's just so yummy. And it's just, if you like the flavor of hickory, that smoky kind of flavor, I recommend trying that out. I also love adding lemon and lime to things, balsamic vinegar, apple cider vinegar, lots of spices. If you've watched my What I Eat in a Day videos, you'll know I'm not shy when it comes to spices. I like to add in dill spice, smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and the more seasoning and flavorful the food can be, the more I enjoy it, the more I don't really think about eating other food because I make my food as yummy as I possibly can with these flavors. Also a bit of sriracha here and there, some soy sauce. Now these foods are higher in sodium. They're not the most healthy condiment you can use, but they're also quite low fat, and if that's what it takes in order to get you to become used to eating more vegetables, then I'm all for it. Will adding cashew cream sauce on top of my meals hinder weight loss? Now, I get asked a lot of these specific questions saying like, can I add this to my food? Can I add that to my food? Can I have some tahini? Can I have a little bit of peanut butter? Now, for me personally, I say if you are going to give low calorie density a fair shot, the two things that are absolute no-nos are nut butters and oils. These are the highest you can get on the list of calorie density, meaning a tiny amount of them are just packed, densely packed full of calories. So essentially, you are going to have to regulate those foods in order to still lose weight. And so I just avoid them altogether. There are so many other delicious ways to season and flavor your foods without adding oil. And so cashew cream and cashew butter and any nut butters, I would recommend not having them at all, if I'm completely honest. And for me, another reason is peanut butter and nut butters were one of the things that I found very addictive, and that I would almost enjoy the food better. Like, for example, my oatmeal. Once I got used to adding in peanut butter to my oatmeal, I didn't enjoy it as much when I had it without. And it actually took me quite a while to start really enjoying oatmeal with fruit and not peanut butter in there. Like, I felt like, oh, something's missing. It's just not as creamy and delicious without the peanut butter. And it took me a while to neuro-adapt to not having that flavor. And that was something super addictive for me. And so for me, I just avoid that altogether. Nut butters, oils are 4,000 calories per pound almost. When you started, did you have temptations, cravings, and how did you manage? Well, for me, I don't have that much of a sweet tooth. I was much more into salty foods like chips, and I was having a lot of vegan cheese, vegan pizza, vegan meats, and things like that mixed in with my meals. And so I still would put soy sauce on my rice dishes to give me that salty flavor, and use salt to season my food. Another food that I show you guys a lot on my channel, this is because I really relied on eating this a lot in the early days of this, was my bean dips with no oil fries. Because it just, first of all, so filling. It's an entire can of either chickpeas or black beans blended together with all my favorite spices and some salt. And it just gave me that feeling of like having like nachos and guacamole, or something that was like a special treat, but it's actually healthy. So I just ended up eating it like every day or every other day. And I still really enjoy it once in a while. Okay, this is another question I get a lot. So this person says, I'm 5 feet tall and I haven't been losing weight. What feeling do you look for in fullness when eating? Very full. So basically, I've had a lot of people say, like, how do I know when I'm full? Or how do I know when I've gone overboard? And kind of like just like not really trusting their own satiety mechanism and their own feeling of fullness. So the thing that I would say is, if you are truly eating low calorie density, don't worry about it. Like, when have you ever heard of someone overdoing it with raw carrots, for example? This overeating and overindulging really only pertains to eating foods that are processed packaged, things like chips, cookies, or that are much, much higher on the calorie density scale. If you are overdoing it on boiled potatoes, like, your body will at some point let you know, like, hey, we can't fit any more potatoes in here, like, we're good. And so if you are concerned about that, the only thing that I would say is steer lower on the calorie density scale. So, you know, fruit and green veggies, these foods are even lower. Like, green veggies are, zucchinis, for example, are 76 calories per pound. So when you're talking about eating something that is so low on the calorie density scale, don't worry about overdoing it at first. Like, this should really not be your biggest concern. And the bigger concern is undereating. I feel like people don't want to hear that based on the questions that I get asked a lot. So many of us are still so concerned about overeating and what if I overdo it. And I just want to say, like, if you are limiting your food intake, you might feel like, oh, I did a good job because I only ate a small amount of food. But what's going to happen is eventually you will have, your body will say, we need food. And then as soon as there's some rich calorie dense junk processed food in there, it's like, boom, oh, and all of a sudden I ate, you know, pizza and I didn't want to be eating pizza, and what's gone on here? So keep yourself full. That is your biggest, I guess, defense mechanism against the junk food that's all around you, is to keep yourself full on the starch foods, the healthy, low calorie dense foods that are essentially under 400 calories per pound. The higher calorie dense foods that are still in the range of what I eat, like white rice, pasta, beans, if you are worried about overeating those, then get yourself fully satiated and full off of the fruit first, and then have the rest of those higher calorie dense foods like pasta after you've filled up on some of the water and fiber rich veggies and fruit, if that is really a big concern to you. But personally, I just eat as much as I need to until I'm full, and I don't worry about the rest of it. So this leads into the next question. Do you measure your starches? How much oatmeal do you usually eat? You are amazing. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy the content I make. And do I measure my starches? No. I measured my oatmeal and pasta in recent videos because people have been asking me. So you can check out my recent What I Eat in a Day videos to kind of get an idea of how much food I'm making at a time. But I always say, err on the side of making too much for your meal than too little. Because if you make too much, I actually love that because you just keep a little bit extra, whatever was left over in the pan or pot, on the stovetop with the lid on it, and then go about your day, go about your evening, and if you feel like you're craving something in a couple hours and you're hungry again, then voila, you don't have to do any work. You've still got that leftover food that is sitting there ready for you to eat. Okay, the next question. I cut out all dairy and meat products, but no weight loss. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so first of all, you're not doing anything wrong, but there are some changes that you can make to steer yourself in the direction of lower calorie density food. So I really want to make this clear that the answer is never to eat less food. The quantity of the food does not need to be decreased. All that needs to change is what those meals are comprised of. And everybody's metabolism is different. So some people might need to even steer lower on the calorie density scale than others. Some people can have quite a bit of pasta and avocado, which is about 750 calories per pound, and still achieve their weight loss goals. And so for the person asking this question, I would really need to take a look at exactly what you're eating all day. And if sometimes people don't realize that when they're eating out at a restaurant, there is some oil that's in that meal. And they might think, well, it's a healthy rice bowl. I'm sure it's fine. And while it might look healthy, it could be laden with oil, salt, and some sort of dressing that is higher calorie density. That could be enough to halt your weight loss. And so I would just really take an honest look at things that seem kind of innocent or like they wouldn't really make a big difference, but they may be. So are you having any dates? Are you having any dried fruits like raisins, dried apples, dried cranberries in your salads? Are you having tahini, any nut butters? Are you having crackers? Are you having protein bars, granola bars, dried breakfast cereals? Your meals really should be comprised of whole plant foods and healthy wet starches. So take a look at my What I Eat in a Day videos to get some inspiration, and hopefully that helps you out. I get full after like 2 potatoes and broccoli. I'm afraid I'm not eating enough. Any tips? Nope. If you are full, you're full. Don't stuff yourself. Like if you're genuinely full, then that's fantastic. That's what you're wanting. There's no need to feel like you need to eat exactly the same amount that you see me eat in my videos or anyone else eat. We all have our own satiation mechanisms. We all have our own body cues. Your body will tell you when you've had enough, and so just trust that. This really is about you and yourself and your own body. All I can do is just give, you know, tips and an idea, an example to you, but listen to your own body. And so if you're full, you're full. When you get hungry again, even if you get hungry in a couple of hours, have some fruit, have some ripe fruit ready at hand always. Like, I bring apples and bananas with me when I know I'm going to be going out for more than a few hours, just because I don't like that feeling of being really hungry and wanting something to eat and thinking about, oh, where am I going to get my meal, da 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 da. I like to have food on me, so having fruit at hand is just an awesome way to kind of be prepared. How many days a week do you work out? So 7 days a week, I do at least 10,000 steps per day. Now this includes me walking around my house, or, you know, anytime I have my phone in my hand, that is what's tracking my steps. So whenever my phone says I've done at least 10,000 steps that day, that's how I know I've hit my goal. But when it comes to weight loss, the food that you are eating is the #1 factor. You know, there's a quote that goes something along the lines of, you can't work off a bad diet, or something along the lines of that. Meaning, well, while exercise is very important and it's great for your overall health, it's very bad to be sedentary and to not move your body at all. And there's so many, negative effects of doing that. So it's super important to get that circulation flowing and to move your body. And it's great. It's a great mood booster. But when it comes to weight loss, the food. What you are eating is the number one thing. Not how often you're eating, not what time of the day you eat, not how many, portions you have or what size portions. It is what the food consists of that is the number one factor. And so what is your normal eating window of time? So I don't eat super early in the morning, although I wake up super early. I usually get up anywhere between 5 and 6. And I don't eat usually until 10 or 10:30, sometimes a bit later. The only time I'll eat earlier is if Alex is having a smoothie and I want some, then I'll have a smoothie at the same time with him before he leaves for work, which is like 8:30ish. What do you usually order when going out to eat? Poke bowls are something that I'm really into. I've shared that a lot on my Instagram. It's a Hawaiian dish and it's really easy to veganize and also to make low calorie density. And basically you choose what you want added to your bowl. So you can choose the starch. So I'll choose white rice and then I will put edamame, which is high protein. Some of the places have mango and pineapple that you could add, different bean sprouts, and I'll use soy sauce and sometimes sriracha as my seasoning. And yeah, super yummy dish that I love. I also really like Mexican food. I also like pasta, but I make that at home a lot, so I don't really order it out all too often. I love sushi. I love Japanese food. I'll get avocado rolls, mango rolls. I love seaweed salad. I can always order just a bowl of white rice on the side as well to help fill me up. But I do eat home almost always. Do you eat any good fat at all? I mean, I think those are so good for your hormones, for example. So yes, fat is important, and fat is actually in a lot of the food that I eat, even though it's in a small amount. So while I might not eat a lot of overt fats like avocado, which I do have at least usually a couple times a week, but I'm not eating as much overt fat as someone who is on a higher fat diet, the food that I do eat each has a little bit of fat, which does add up to at least the daily recommended minimum for healthy fats. And the same goes for protein as well. So a lot of people are concerned about protein deficiency and not having enough protein on a plant-based diet, but something like soy milk and edamame has a bit of fat and protein. And so just check out my videos. You'll see that I have a lot of beans, lentils, dark leafy greens also have a certain amount of protein, which is great for you. My biggest sources of fat would be tofu, soy milk, and a certain amount in beans and avocado. Please make a video on yo-yo eating and calorie density. I fall off over weekends and I hate it. Again, my biggest advice for this is being full and being prepared. And I've said this before, but unfortunately, the society that we live in, the world that we live in, is not set up for people to be their healthiest selves. It is set up for convenience, and we are creatures who want to follow the path of least resistance. When you're hungry, it just seems so much easier to be like, let me stop at the coffee shop and grab a latte and a muffin. Like, that's just so easy. You want food, you pick it out, it's ready, you eat it, it's calorie dense, so your body is getting like a ton of calories, and that's what it wants when it's hungry. So, following that path of least resistance can really just lead you to eating all the packaged and processed foods. And I know, because even though I'm a health conscious person, I did the same thing. Even being someone who's a vegan, and I've been vegan now like 6 years, I still was eating the Cliff Bars and the packaged foods and the vegan pizzas. And it's easy to go down that path of following what's convenient and super tasty. So I'm not gonna lie to you and say that, oh, come on, it's so easy. Just eat like I do, low calorie density, and learn the information and stick with it forever, and it's super easy. For some people have that personality where they learn something, they're just super diligent with it, and they cut off any kind of temptations, and that's amazing. But that's not the case for most people, I would assume. And so you are gonna have to work on your environment harder than you work on yourself. Like I said earlier in the video, you're going to have to be honest with yourself about where do I get most tempted? Where are the places where I feel myself really starting to slip, and how can I navigate those social situations and kind of armor myself with the best chance of success with this way of eating? And so some of those ways are to make sure that you're full before you go out. I do this all the time. If I'm going out to a restaurant and someone kind of invites me somewhere that I've never been before, I don't know what's on the menu, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get full off of the food that they have there, or if I'm going to be stuck eating a salad that is going to leave me hungry in 10 minutes. Then I will just eat something before I go. Sometimes I've even just blended up a quick smoothie and drank that on the way. Or, that might not sound like a lot of fun, and it might seem like, well, why should I have to do all that extra work just for trying to be healthy? But you do. And, as I said, the world is not set up to make this easy. The world is set up to make eating junk food easy and convenient. You don't see fruits and vegetables at the checkout stand just ready to be purchased. You see packaged and processed chips, cookies, candy bars, ready to just eat and just super convenient and inexpensive. So you have to kind of armor yourself and just be ready for the fact that you will be tempted sometimes. All right, I know this video is going to be really long, but I just want to answer these, and hopefully you find this information helpful to you. Maybe if you're listening on your phone, go for a nice long walk while you're listening to all of this. Or you could probably clean your house in all of this time as well. All right, next question is, I really love your way of living and it's very inspiring to me. Question, how do your family and friends respond to you eating so strictly? Have you ever received any negative comments? I think this really does come down to personality. There definitely are personality characteristics that if you have them, you will be more successful with this way of eating. If you are someone who doesn't really care what people think, and I don't mean that in a rude way, just if you're not as sensitive to other people's criticisms and you have a thick skin and you can just let any kind of negative comments, or if someone rolls their eyes at you for being, picky with your food and taking a long time to order at a restaurant, if you can laugh that stuff off, you will be more successful. Unfortunately, I feel like if you are a total sweetheart, then this is even harder for you. For example, if you find it hard to tell someone that you are not going to eat the food that they've just made because it has oil in it or butter in it, and you feel guilted into eating a cake because someone baked it and they really want you to try it. If you find that those types of social situations are really difficult for you, then this is going to be even more of a challenge. And so there are ways around navigating these situations, and having go-to sentences that you say so that you don't really hurt someone's feelings, and you let them know respectfully that this is not how you eat. But this is all personality based. For me personally, I guess being vegan for 6 years has kind of geared me up for not eating oil and being a little bit more specific with what I do eat, because I'm used to it. I'm used to saying, sorry, I know you spent a lot of time on that, pasta with prawns, but I don't eat fish, I'm vegan. And so I'm kind of used to navigating that. Yeah, once in a while, not often. Most of the people I hang around are super respectful, but once in a while I will come across someone who is like, well, where do you get your protein, and da-da-da, and I can just feel that they kind of are just wanting a debate and they're not genuinely asking out of curiosity. After dinner, I crave sweets and even more sweets. Please give me the solution. Well, I would say, again, make sure that you're fully full. Another thing that is a really nice after dinner treat, if you do want something sweet, is to make a bowl of oatmeal, but make it dessert-like. So something you can do is you can bake an apple in the oven and then add cinnamon and add that to the oatmeal. So make it like an apple pie oatmeal bowl, and just get creative with what you do have. Get creative with fruits. Something I used to do, and I haven't done this in so long, is I really like the flavor of peppermint. I really liked mint desserts. So something that I would do is blend up frozen bananas with mint extract and vanilla extract that are used for baking, and I'd make like a creamy, vanilla-y, minty type of a smoothie, or it was almost like an ice cream consistency. So really, really yummy and flavorful. You can actually buy stevia drops that are flavored as well. The brand of stevia that I use called Enzo Stevia, I don't know if they still make the liquid drops, but I used to have like caramel and vanilla drops from them, which were really, really good. And they're 0 calorie. They're just made of stevia. Was there anything you did differently to get off the last 10 pounds? I didn't have a number in mind, so I didn't even know when I was at the last 10 pounds, if that makes sense. So I just kept eating the same exact way, and where I landed is where I landed. And that's kind of what I recommend to people. So instead of hyper focusing on a number, like your number could be quite a bit higher or quite a bit lower than what you think. Like you might think that your ideal body weight is going to be 130 pounds, and you eat until you're completely full, and then you get down to 135 and you're really happy. You fit into your jeans and your clothing very well, and you feel comfortable, you feel that you look good, and you're happy with that. Then that's fantastic. Or maybe you end up becoming 125 pounds and you thought, oh, whoa, I didn't do anything differently. I just kept eating this way, and that's where my body weight landed. And so for me, I didn't have that number, so I didn't know when I was getting to, I didn't know if I was gonna keep losing weight, or like I just kept eating the exact same way. So to answer your question, no, I didn't do anything differently toward the last 10 pounds. But I would say that when I say 1 pound of fat loss per week can be expected, that is when you have like more than 20 pounds to lose. If you are, 5 pounds from where you think you want to be, and you're eating this way and you're not losing a pound a week, you might already be at your ideal body weight. So when people say they want to get to a certain number, I don't know if that is like vanity weight and they're trying to get to this quote unquote ideal. But when I'm sharing about weight loss, I'm talking about losing over 20 pounds of excess body fat. What is your height, weight, waist, hip measurements? So I'm 5'2.5". My weight really varies, but I guess I would say 105 to 109 is kind of where I would fall. I did weigh myself this morning and I was 106.5. So my waist is 23 inches and my dress size is a 0 or an extra small. I am a petite pear body shape. So I do look a lot smaller on top, even when I'm heavier, than my lower half. Like where I carry weight mostly is in my thighs and hips and, lower region. How often do you eat? Well, I'm not a big snacker. I like big meals. When I start eating, I like to just eat until I'm full, and I've always been that way. Like my mom used to always get upset because when she would be making dinner, when I was a kid, I would get hungry and I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna snack on something. And then I'd eat like an entire box of crackers or something, and then I wouldn't be hungry for dinner. Like I'm not good at like eating tiny amounts of food. Like if I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. So I just wait until I'm hungry, and then I just eat as much as I need until I'm completely full. But I understand that everyone's got different appetites, and so if you're someone who you feel you're at your best when you eat often and you eat like 6 to 8 little mini meals throughout the day, then do what feels best to you. Trust your body more than you trust what anyone else says. So don't, by no means, when I make my videos, I am not doing them so that people copy exactly what and how I eat. I'm just showing that I'm eating ad libitum till I'm comfortably full with the foods that I like to eat, and encouraging you to get comfortably full off of the foods that you like to eat that are within that low calorie density range. And I'm gonna do more videos like this because honestly, I could sit here and answer so many questions and talk for hours and hours, but I'll break them up and I'll give other people a chance. Now that you've seen this video, you might have a question for me that you want me to chat about, so send that my way. How do you keep consistent? I can't seem to go past 3 weeks. Love the food that you're eating. I find that people who often when I get questions like this, it's from people who, when I chat with them a little bit more about it, I see that they're actually not enjoying the food that much. They're doing it as like, you know, out of diligence and out of like trying to stick with it instead of just like eating food that they genuinely like. And so if you're finding that you're exerting willpower to make yourself sit down and eat really boring, plain boiled potatoes with broccoli and nothing on them, and it's almost like a punishment to you, then of course you're gonna be like watching the clock. You'll be like, how many days have I been doing this now? When can I get, you know, when can I stop? When can I go back to good food? Like if you're feeling that way, then that is not something that you're gonna stick with long term. I'm able to stick with this for like more than 9 months now because I'm not really exerting all that much willpower. I've just kind of got it into the flow. And that's why I say, you know, get yourself into a rhythm and a deep groove, as Dr. Lyle calls it, and find some recipes that you genuinely enjoy. Like I want you to feel like after you've eaten your meal, like, oh, that was so good. Like when I make rice bowls with mango, avocado, and beans and onion and, you know, all this deliciousness, I'm not eating that thinking, God, I wish I could eat a pizza right now. Like I'm just thinking, this is yummy, I want more. And so get yourself to that space and you won't be looking at the calendar. You won't be like counting how many days you've done this for because you're just eating food that you like. Someone here is asking, can I film a video of what I was eating when I was losing weight? And so I've gotten a lot of questions about like, how do I eat differently now that I'm already at my ideal weight range, and how did I eat when I first started out this way? And so the only real differences are that now I have avocado, pasta, and fruit jam with my oatmeal sometimes. So those foods that are a bit higher calorie density, I wasn't eating that. I wasn't having pasta the first couple of months. I was really sticking with the rice bowls, rice, beans, veggies. I was making a lot of soups because it was in November and it was going into winter. I had a lot of soups because it was just so easy. I didn't really need to follow complicated recipes. I could just put a bunch of different veggies, potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions, all this deliciousness into a pot, and then I would blend up half of it, which I've shown in my recent videos where I've made soups, to get that creamy texture in there. Add in all my spices, add in a bit of salt, and then I'd have this filling soup that I'd have like at least 2 or 3 days worth of soup. So it was just so easy, and then I wasn't really focused on like making complicated recipes. I just wanted to make it as easy for myself as possible to get full on these yummy starchy meals. And then a lot of oatmeal as well. Oatmeal with a sliced banana, oatmeal with frozen blueberries, lots of cinnamon, some stevia, a bit of soy milk. So pretty similarly to how I'm eating now, except not as much pasta. All right, I'm gonna end this video because it's been really long, and if you're still with me, then bravo. I hope you've found this to be helpful. But I wanna say, go and watch some of the videos that I've linked in this description box. They're not my videos, they're videos that I watched when I was starting out eating this way, and I found them super informative, super helpful and inspiring. And you know, the more you know, the better. Information is power. All it takes is one little insight, one idea that someone shares that like could simplify everything for you, and you're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? That's amazing, I'm gonna do that. And then it just makes this whole process easy for you. I don't know what that one bit of information is for you. Maybe something I said in this video just clicked and helped you in some way. And so just keep learning. I have an entire playlist on this channel called Weight Loss, and there's at least 15 videos there right now, so watch them. You know, you might have a question right now that I didn't answer. Maybe the answer is in one of those videos. All right, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you again to YvetteSports for sponsoring this video and sending me some beautiful activewear. And I might go Google some workouts now, so I'll put on my activewear and go do a little 15-minute exercise session. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.